Hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you can see me. I'm trying to do this standing and want to make sure my head's not cut off here. Okay, so welcome. We're going to be talking today about how I turned an $8,000 investment into $35,000 in 8 weeks and other stories of having a return on investment in different ways. So I'm super excited to be here. As you all tune in, be sure to say hello and let me know where you are tuning in from. And today I'm going to really share about the best investments I have made that have paid off and also the ones that didn't, because I think it's really important to talk about both, right? We've all had probably both experiences if you're tuning in right now. Hi, I see some of you joining us, so please say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Just type in the chat so I know you're here. And I want to share also about other kinds of return on investment because I've made a lot of different kinds of investments in my career, in my life, and some of them have come back financially and others have come back in other ways. Hi, Tamara, where are you tuning in from? Let me know. So some have come back in other ways, right? There's return on investment in terms of happiness, in terms of health, in terms of relationships or network or community. And so I'm going to share other kinds of ROI that I've gotten as well. Hi, ladies. So we got Florida. Andrea, let me know where you're tuning in from as well. Utah. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And if you ladies know you have questions or anyone else who's watching, please go ahead and type those in the chat so I can make sure to cover them while we are talking today. And just so you all know, we are going to be doing 2 lives this week because we've been having so much fun with it. And Gigi couldn't be on this one today. And this is just kind of me sharing some of my stories. So on Thursday, we are going to be doing another live. I believe it's at the same time at noon. So usually we just do this on Mondays, but on Thursday, we're going to be doing another one. And the topic is Secrets of Success the Feminine Way. So that's going to be really, really fun. So be sure to mark your calendar for that. Same time, 12 p.m. Central. So again, today we're sharing about stories of ROI. I also want to share how I choose whether to invest in a program today. So having had all these experiences, both ones that paid off and ones that didn't as much, I have kind of an approach that I want to share with you. So again, keep telling me questions as we go along. I want to make this super interactive. So today, this topic is really, I wanted to share it because I hear from a lot of people about investments they've made that they feel haven't paid dividends. And so I really want to talk about, again, what's made the biggest difference for me in terms of choosing which programs to invest in and which ones actually, and coaches, and which ones have actually paid off. And I also want to talk about those other kinds of ROI because often when I hear this from people, they haven't dug deeper. It's like we get fixated on the money piece, which of course is important, but there's so much more to, improving your life and relationships and happiness, and also indirect ways that a return on investment can happen. For example, through your network or community. So I'll share more about that and how that's actually shown up for me, because sometimes also I'm talking about in one of my main stories I want to share today, an 8-week ROI, right? That's super like, wow, exciting. But really, if I look back, it's over the longer term that these, return on investments really show up. So I'll talk more about that. And I also want to share why your level of commitment to something makes all the difference, because I think that is the number one thing I see. So everybody else, I see many of you watching. Please let me know where you're tuning in from and if you have any questions you want me to cover today. And then I want to bust the myth in this video, in this training we're about to go into, that you should be able to just figure it out on your own. Okay, this is a big one that I see, and people feel like, well, I know a lot, I should just be able to figure it out without getting support. And the truth is, if I look back at my life and career, and really in these last few years as it's accelerated, there's no way that I would be where I am today without the investments I made in myself. And I say investments I made in myself because that's really my belief, is that when I'm investing in a coach or a program and I really see it's the right step, I'm not investing in them. I'm investing in myself, in my own growth and my ability to get where I want to go. Awesome. So we have Iowa and Maryland. Great. We have all over the states today. So good to see you, ladies. Please let me know if you have any questions as we go through. So this is about, in some sense, being willing to be humble and ask for help, or realize that, you don't need to have all the answers, that even though we've been told that if there's someone out there that has done it, or, can really teach you or guide you in the thing that you want to learn, then why sit there and try to figure it out on your own, right? Why not? Christy, I'm not sure what classes you're talking about, so let me know. Do you mean these classes online? Because yes, this will stay up in the Facebook group and you can watch it later, though I really encourage you to stay on live because then you can ask questions. Virginia, Illinois, awesome. Welcome, everyone. So I 100% believe in the power of coaching and the power of support, obviously, because I am a coach, and I think many of you are probably as well, or thinking of becoming coaches. So actually, I'd love for you to all share. I know where you all are located now. What do you do? Are you a coach? Are you thinking about becoming one? Are you an entrepreneur? Because this topic very much applies whether you're, an entrepreneur or thinking about coaching. Um, and I'm curious too, have you had an experience of making an investment in yourself that you feel really paid off, whether financially or otherwise? Hi, Diana is in Atlanta. Awesome. Welcome. Nice to see you. Okay, so we're going to start with the main story that you all probably tuned in to hear today, which is the story of me investing $8,000 into a program and then making 35,000 directly out of what I learned in that program within 8 weeks. Okay, ADHD coach, awesome, very needed. Everybody else, let me know what you do. Healthy lifestyle and life coach, great. So lots of coaches. Who else? What do you do? Share in the chat. Okay, so a couple of years ago, I invested in a program, and like I said, it was $8,000. And I invested in that program to learn about business and sales. Now, you might think, well, you probably didn't know about business and sales, but that's actually not the case. I had been running my own business for 6, 7 years at that point, and I had actually been focused on online marketing, copywriting, marketing strategies, and doing that for 6 to 7 figure coaches. That was my first career, was I was doing online marketing. So when I transitioned into coaching, you would think, well, I would have everything I need to know, right? But I was essentially starting from scratch. I was essentially starting a brand new business. And what happened was I realized that there were a lot of gaps in my knowledge, right? I knew this kind of high level strategy and messaging and a lot of these very important things, but there were missing pieces. There were things I did not know. Now, I could have just sat there and gone, well, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm a smart person, and probably could have. But the truth is, that would have taken me years. That would have taken me, I mean, at least months, if not years. And I wanted to shortcut the process. I wanted to have success in this business to make the impact that I really felt I was called to make. And so this was the point at which I said, okay, I probably need to get some support. And let me just see what you ladies are saying here. Coach and trainer, entrepreneur. What kind of entrepreneur, Camille? I'm curious. Small business consulting and tiny books. I don't know what tiny books are, but that sounds really interesting. So great. We have a lot of coaches, consultants, some entrepreneurs. So this applies definitely to all of those careers. So you're in the right place. And so the first step, like I said, was kind of admitting I didn't have it all figured out and admitting that I needed support. And then starting to look at what were my options. Now, different people have different approaches to this. I personally follow a very, I would say, kind of intuitive approach. And so I'm not the kind of person that goes out there and looks at every single program and compares and figures out the one with the best features. I really look to see, who do I resonate with? Who do I resonate with? And then if I really see and feel that this is the person, and I see they've, had some success stories and things like that, then that is how I make my choices. And I'll talk more about that in a little while. But I found someone, or my mom and I actually at that time, she actually turned me on to them. And when I heard about their program, I was like, this is it. This is the one to get me to that next level. And I didn't overthink it. And this is, I think, important because I see a lot of people get caught up in analysis paralysis, where they go, oh my gosh, there's so many options. What do I do? Right. And this is part of why I don't go compare every little feature and every little thing, because so much it comes down to energetics. Is this the right person you feel to support you? And then, your gut feeling as well. So at that time, I did not have the, funds. I didn't have the money just sitting in a bank account to invest in that program. I was very new to having my coaching business. And so I put it on a payment plan. They had a payment plan option. And I said, great, I don't know where that money is going to come from, but I'm going to pay it out over, I think it was 3 months or something like that, put it on a credit card and go for it. And I did. And so the level of commitment there was huge because it's not that first of all, when you invest, your commitment level is going to often equal your investment. And so, it's really important in some ways that you make these leaps as a coach or as an entrepreneur sometimes to invest in yourself if it's the right investment, because then the way you will show up is so much different. You will show up at a different level. And so I was committed. I had to figure it out. I had to make this work because I put this on a credit card. I'm on this payment plan, and they were high payments, right? Paying out $8,000 plus over 3 months was not a small thing. Let's see, we've got a caterer and a virtual assistant. Awesome. Welcome, ladies. And again, let me know if you have any specific questions as we go through this. So, this is not the first time I've done this. I have put things on payment plans. I've done whatever it takes when I feel something is the right fit. And I've done this because I trust myself, because I've done it before, to go all in, to go all in 110% to making something happen. And this is really important because I think where people get caught up when they think about investing in themselves isn't always so much about the money. Of course, for many of you, figuring out the money piece, you'd have to figure that out just like I did. It's not just sitting there for you. But often when I see people hesitate, it's because they don't sort of, in some ways, trust themselves to really go for something and get those results. And again, not just in terms of ROI financially, but also in other areas. If you're looking to improve your life, your business, your whatever it is you're looking to transform. So, did the payment plan, went all in on, really going for it. I spent hours each day in this program, really learning the system, implementing what I learned. And my biggest breakthroughs in this particular program came in the form of mindset breakthroughs and then also sales. We have like a soundtrack going here. Sorry, I don't know where the music is coming from. So, mindset and sales. So, at that time, those were sort of some of I wouldn't even say missing pieces. I was selling already, I was selling successfully. I had a lot of the mindset stuff I'd learned over the years, but it's so different when you join a program and they have a whole system, right? You might have all the little pieces, but when you get the whole system, it makes all the difference. So I had these huge, aha moments in these different areas. And, it wasn't easy. And I don't want to downplay, because I'm going to get to the success part in a moment about how I actually created that 35,000. But I want to be really transparent that it was not easy to dedicate this time to, really go for it. And then also to be willing to be vulnerable in the sense that I wasn't good at these things right away, right? I would get so frustrated sometimes trying something and feeling like I was failing and not figuring it out, but I stuck with it. And that is so, so important. So within 8 weeks of doing this, of really working the program, of going all in, of learning, especially in mindset and sales, although I was learning a lot of different things in business. And by the way, also having a beginner's mindset, I think was huge here because, if I had gone in and said, well, I know a lot of this stuff already, and much of it I did, it was kind of like, familiar to me, then there's no way I would have gotten those results. I would have given up or just said, this isn't for me. But instead, I said, you know what? I'm going to come in here with a beginner's mind and I'm going to really work the system because this person that I trust and I've invested in is telling me it works. And so, fast forward 8 weeks, I had enrolled 7 people into my $5,000 program, earning $35,000 directly out of what I learned from this investment. So, a 337.5% ROI, right? This is the story. And I directly attribute this to what I learned from going through this. And I also, in the process, interestingly enough, discovered a passion for sales. I discovered that this was something that I actually love. And even though it made me so uncomfortable at first, right? It was like brought up all my stuff, and we see this sometimes. So I'm curious again, for those of you watching, have you ever invested in yourself in a higher ticket investment, let's say over $1,000, and has that paid off? Have you seen it pay off? Because I want to know why or why not, because I want to be able to support you all in getting results in your investments moving forward. So I want to make a little comparison here to my college education, okay? And I don't know how many of you went to college or didn't. But my college education, if I had paid everything like that it cost, would have been $180,000. I went to a fancy 4-year private university. Now I went there because I got a lot of great scholarships to go there and grants. And so I ended up paying about $60,000. Now I didn't have that again sitting around. So I took out student loans, and that was, the way I made it happen basically. Now, as I look back now, it's been about 10 years, I think, since I graduated. And if I really am honest with myself, apart from the confidence of, having a degree and which is all mindset anyway, I really don't use anything I learned in school in my career today. Does anyone else, have you had that experience? I don't know, Camille, Helen, Linda, Diana, if any of you are still with me, Christy, Tamara, have you had that experience? Did you go to university, and do you actually use much of what you learned in university today? Because I hear from people all the time that they don't, and yet it's socially accepted that we make this huge investment of not only money, but time into going to university. Now, I have nothing against, Camille said, me. Yeah. So you had that experience, it sounds like. I have nothing against college and university. I think it's an amazing, those were great 4 years for me in so many ways. But really, when I look at it at like, we're talking about ROI here, return on investment, you know, that kind of investment versus when I've invested in coaching programs and coaches and systems to really move my business forward in my adult life, the ROI is just, it's totally disproportionate. I've had so much more success in these other programs as an adult. Diana went to college and don't use it either. Yeah, exactly. So think about it, $60,000 and 4 years of my life to really not see much of an ROI, if any, nothing I can directly attribute, right? Versus in this story I just told you, investing $8,000 and making $35,000 in 8 weeks, right? And that's not maybe typical, but it was my experience in this particular instance. So I think it's really interesting that, again, culturally, it's sort of frowned upon to make investments in, let's say, coaching programs, things like that. But then, it's okay to take out tens of thousands of dollars in student loans to get a college education. So just think about that for a minute. The next time you're really looking at making an investment in yourself, now I'm not saying go invest willy-nilly in every program and put yourself into a whole lot of debt. That's not what we're talking about here. But really think about, am I willing to make this investment, even if it stretches me beyond my comfort zone? Because I really see it's the thing that's going to move me forward in my life or move me forward in my business. And so, okay, so we know some of you went to college and that didn't necessarily pay off the way you were hoping. And I do want to hear, though, about other investments you've made. Tell me about other investments you've made that maybe have paid off. I'm really, really curious about that. Or if you haven't had any, then I'd love to know that too. And then I want to share, because we've been talking about the money, and I want to share about non-financial ROI. Okay, and ROI is this fancy sounding term that just basically means return on investment. So many other times that I've invested in myself, sometimes it's come back financially, but other times it's come back in other ways. So I'm thinking back to when I first started my first business, my marketing business. I was only a couple years out of college. Well, I started it right out of college, basically. And so, about a year and a half into having that business, I had been hustling. I had no, support to get it started. I just started putting myself out there, getting clients, and I went from totally broke, by the way, $60,000 in student loans, no car when I was moved out to California. It's a long story, but I was really in this position of I've got to figure this out. And that is one way that I will say that my college education kind of paid off. And this is going to sound crazy, but I had about $1,000 in student loans that I had to pay every month once I kind of got past that grace period out of school. And I will tell you that that was one of the biggest motivators that I think got me to my first six figures within 18 months of having that first business. Having that $1,000 that I had to pay on top of my living expenses and no safety net to make that happen made me go for it. It made me go for financial success because I couldn't afford not to, right? And so, okay, Diana said investments, many, some paid off, some didn't. Yeah. And have you looked at the other ways, like Diana, apart from financial, that they maybe paid off or didn't in your life? I'm curious about that as well. So, that is actually an interesting thing, right? When I've stretched myself and had something I had to figure out how to pay for, I often rise to the occasion. And that's why I trust that I can do that, right? Because I've done it before. But if you've never done it before, it is to go, am I willing to stretch myself? Not unreasonably so, but really, go for getting results. Okay. But let's go back to I was just started my first business, and I heard about this event. I was living in San Diego. I didn't know anybody there yet. I moved there with my boyfriend at the time. And I heard about this, I think it was 2 or 3 day event. And I just had this strong intuition that I needed to be there. Now, this was not a grow your business kind of event. It was a transformation, see just connection with other women. I think it was all women. See your next steps. I don't even remember what it was about, honestly, but I read about it, I saw it, and I was like, I have to be there. I just got this knowing that this was something for me. Now, it wasn't cheap. It was, I think, $1,500 for 2 or 3 days. And that I don't even think that included lodgings. It was, a higher ticket event. And for me, that was like a huge stretch at the time. Oh my goodness. I think that was the most I had invested in myself at the time. But I just knew I had to be there. So I signed up again on the payment plan and was like, I'm going to find a way to make this happen. Now, I ended up going to this event and having an incredible experience. First of all, fun, enjoying myself, feeling connected to this amazing community of people. And then looking back now, I'm just going to talk about from my perspective years later. I can say so many different kinds of return on investment came out of that event. And that's not why I was going. It was like I just knew this was something I needed to do. And people who come into our programs often feel that way. They tell me, I just know that this is what I need to do. And then later they look back and know why. So if you feel that with someone or, a coach or a program, to some degree, I think trust that instinct, right? So looking back, I can point to that kicked off me meeting some incredible people directly. I can think about friends I made, people who introduced me to people who then I ended up finding my whole community in San Diego. And just people I'm still connected to this day, truly from that event. So, so many. And I got a lot of clarity out of being there. I really saw where I wanted to go next with my business and my career. And I did end up getting clients in a very interesting, indirect way. I remember in particular, I think I connected with a photographer there that I ended up i- investing again and doing a photo shoot with her. And it was not cheap. Again, it was like $3,000 for the photo shoot. But I just had this instinct that this was a thing for me to do. So I went, I had this photo shoot. It was awesome. That photographer ended up connecting me with a client who signed on and worked with me for a year in my marketing business. And more than paid back both of those investments. So a lot of times these things come in really interesting roundabout ways, not just, I applied what I learned and I got the result, right? So friends and community, clarity, and also getting connected to people who became friends and became even clients, right? Another example, I want to make sure you're all still with me. So I'm like, I haven't seen any comments in a while. So, what questions are coming up as you are watching, kind of listening, or have you had any aha moments? I want to hear from you as I'm talking. So, I'm not just talking into a void here. So, another investment I have made is into like masterminds or other kinds of events or programs where, again, it wasn't like go learn to grow my business, but I had a sense that through, first of all, the personal transformations and also through growing my network, that it would really pay off in the end. And again, I make these are very intuitive choices for me at this point. Um, but it does come out of not just always looking for programs or coaches that are going to help me grow my business. It's also really looking at what is the community I want to put myself into, or the environment, or what kind of personal transformation do I need to have to get to my next level, and do I feel this is the place to help me get there, the program to help me get there? So I'm thinking of a couple particular events I've gone to that again were higher ticket, and I just knew that the community that would build for me would hugely pay off. And I will say that one of the biggest factors in my success over these years, my whole career, I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years now, is has been my networking community. It has been, Christy, which program are we talking about? So the event I went to was Live Free, Archangel, and Camp Maverick are a couple of the high-end masterminds I've been to. So yeah, lots of different programs over the years. And then at one point, I also invested in a mastermind that was $10,000. It was a small mastermind. And, if I look back today, that's one where I would say, okay, I went in there for business. I thought that's what I was going to get. And at the time, that's not what I got at all. I actually got personal transformation, but it was something that moved me forward in my journey and got me to a place where I was able to have business breakthroughs later. So again, all different kinds of ways that things can pay off. And I do want to hear more questions from you, so please chime in. So I want to cover a couple of kind of FAQs, frequently asked questions, things that I said I would share today before we close out. And again, if you have questions, please share them with me in the comments below. So one of them is, what has been the biggest difference in the programs where I've gotten an ROI and a return on investment versus the ones where I didn't? So the first thing, which I've shared a lot about already, is trusting my gut. Going for the energetics of, who do I feel drawn to? What program, what community, what person, coach do I feel drawn to? And not trying to sit there and analysis paralysis, figure it out in my mind, or check all the boxes of what does this have in it. And that has served me well. And when I have gone from my mind with, investing in something, is often when I've seen less results. So that's been my personal experience. I don't know about those of you watching. And the other thing is my commitment level. This is huge. It might be the number one thing. So when I am 110% committed, and some of this comes through investing, by the way, like I shared, it's like if I spend $300 on a program, my commitment level to actually going, especially if it's self-study, I don't know about you, I'm not great with the whole self-study thing. So if I spend $300 on a program, it's self-study, I have to go sit there and watch it on my computer. Most of the time, I might watch some of it, but I just don't get through it. Now, if I had spent $3,000 on that same program, what do you think the chances are that I would actually finish it? A lot higher, right? So it's this weird thing that is part of the energetics of investing in yourself, is that we value what we pay for. Because then we go, okay, and this is why I call it investing in yourself and not investing in a program, because you are putting an energetic commitment out into the universe that you care about this to the degree that you will invest not only the money, but also the time into doing it. So have any of you ever had that experience where you've like bought a program, maybe it was $30 or $100 or something like that, and you haven't finished it? I'm curious, right? And then if you have invested high ticket, has your commitment level been different? Because that's something I see a lot. So your commitment level is huge. I think it's really everything, because ultimately there's so many great programs out there and so many great coaches, and it does need to be the right fit for you. But the truth is, your commitment to going all in, to getting value, to showing up, and being willing to fail is the other thing. That was a big one for me, is that getting vulnerable about the areas where I didn't know, or where I had to put myself out there and it was really challenging, learning sales, learning marketing, learning coaching even. And being, again, just vulnerable, or being in rooms with people who were more successful than me, and sitting in that discomfort of like, oh my gosh. Or I have a memory of being in one of those events I told you about, where I was in this room with all these entrepreneurs and they loved what they were doing. I could really see it. They were passionate about the work they were doing. And I was still in my marketing business at the time. And I remember going into the bathroom and crying, just bawling, because I didn't feel the same way, because I saw these people so lit up and passionate about what they were doing. And I did not feel that way in my purely marketing business. I knew there was something more inside of me. That moment was invaluable. And I would not have had that moment if I hadn't gone to that event, if I hadn't trusted my gut and gone there, because that was part of the catalyst that had me ultimately make the change and step into the work I love, which is coaching. So again, it's hard to measure sometimes if you look back, where this ROI comes from, because it's not always directly from, let me learn these business basics or whatever and turn that into results. So yeah, Tamara says I haven't finished low ticket self-paced products. Yeah, and that's why when we designed our certification program, we have a 9-month certification program called Aliveness Mastery. We start in 2 weeks. So highly recommend you check it out at alivenessmastery.com. And when we designed it, we made it really primarily live. It's all the teaching happens on the classes, live on these, twice a week group coaching calls that are so powerful. Because if you have to show up for something, it's very different. And you're investing in yourself, both time, money, everything. It's very different than paying $97 for a computer that's going to sit on your, or sorry, computer, a program that's going to sit on your computer for years. And this is why when people come to me and say, I've invested and it hasn't paid off, we have to dig a little bit deeper there, because if the investments we're talking about are these kinds of lower priced or self-study, and you haven't really set yourself up for success there, and your commitment level hasn't matched where you want to go, then that's something to dig deeper into, right? So other types of so that's the first question. What's made the biggest difference in the programs that have paid off? I do also want to talk about what other types of ROI should you be thinking about when you're making an investment, because again, the financial immediate, like the story I told at the beginning, because it's inspiring and kind of catchy, right? But I wanted to also share all these other stories because it's equally important, and they've paid off in so many different ways, including financially, but in more roundabout ways, right? So what other kinds of ROI should you be thinking about if you are going to invest in a program? So I always like to say, are you learning new skills? Are you learning new skills that will help you advance in your career or business? This is huge. Someone I know wrote a book about this. I can't think of the name right now, but a few years ago, that it was about like the best investment you can make. Like truly, if you look at, investing in the stock market, and I'm not an expert, by the way, in any of these things. So, and everyone's going to have different results, of course, but the stock market, all these other things we think of as investments or college education, the best thing you can possibly invest in is yourself. And when I say that, I mean in growing your skill set, in transforming yourself, because that is what's going to ultimately, move you forward. Like when all this craziness happened in the past year, and the world is kind of topsy-turvy, turning upside down. It's been so challenging for so many people, and us included. We've had our ups and downs, but I remember feeling like so relieved that I have the skills that I have, that I know how to, coach, that I know how to do online business, that I know how to put myself out there online and have authentic sales conversations, because I wasn't scared in the same way that I think I would have been without having those skills, right? So, then when it comes to the economy and things like that, I know that there's always a way. Like I will be able to take care of myself. And nothing beats that feeling. So when you're thinking about investing in a program, is it going to give you skills that will move you forward? Like in our program, for example, you're getting a whole certification. You're getting certified in a coaching and communication method. So whether you're an entrepreneur, and it sounds like most of you are, or you want to advance in, if you ever went back and got a job, or if you are in a career and you want to use this more as a leader, then that's an amazing way to set yourself apart, right? With these coaching and communication skills, which I really believe, we talk about this a lot, are the way of the future. And then are you transforming in the process? This is huge. I did a video about this a couple weeks ago. That was, if you want to grow your business, transform yourself. Because so much of what holds people back is not having the wrong steps or strategy. There's a lot of people teaching the business tactics out there, right? And they're all teaching what worked for them, by the way. And I mean, not all, there's many great coaches out there, but many are teaching kind of here's what worked for me, instead of really looking into what's going to work for you, because you are unique. But, even more important than that, that comes after. It is important, but even more important than that is your personal transformation. Because if I look back, when I've had the biggest breakthroughs, it's really been when I have broken through a block, or I've seen something that was holding me back, or I've been willing to go get really uncomfortable in order to learn and grow, right? So this is super, super important. Is the program not just teaching you tactics? Because how many of you feel like you know the right things to do, but you're either not doing them, or you are, doing them and not getting results? Does anybody feel that way? I'd love to hear if that's the case, because I hear this a lot, right? I'm doing all the right things and I'm not getting results, or I know the things to do, but for some reason I'm not doing them. If you've had that experience, I want to hear from you. Yeah, so Christy, the website is alivenessmastery.com. And yeah, if you are curious, definitely go check it out. We start in 2 weeks, so it's coming up really, really soon. We have an amazing community of people in this program. You'll get connected to women, and so far all women, although it is open to men if any men are watching, but in almost, I think, 10 countries, something like that. Amazing, amazing people. And it is a 9-month program, and I'll talk about why in just a moment, because the length of time is actually really important. So, yeah, so Tamara's doing them and not getting results. I see that a lot. And so there's usually one of two things happening there, Tamara. Either the things you're doing aren't actually in alignment for you. Sometimes they see that. So people are trying on other people's tactics and strategies, but they don't actually fit for them. Or they're kind of building something that's not actually the right fit for them. Or there's often something internally showing up that is getting in the way. Now, I can't speak to your situation without knowing more, but those are a couple of things. And we do also do these clarity calls. So if you haven't heard about that and you're interested in having a clarity call, it's like a breakthrough coaching experience. Type clarity below, and I think that would be great for you tomorrow if you're having some of that stuff showing up. And then all of the above, aliveness mastery. Yeah, so Sunny just typed that in the chat, Christy, so you can get that link. Um, so again, the transformation is so important. And this is why in our program, everything you learn, you apply to yourself first. We're not just teaching you a bunch of things. You're not just learning and studying, and there's no self-study. Like I said, you are live on calls with us, getting mentored, getting coached every step of the way. And you are applying it to yourself first, because you need to have those personal transformations in order to, first of all, grow your business and, grow as a leader, but also to be able to work with other people and and help them, not create them for them, but create the space for them to also have that kind of transformation. That's so important as a coach or as a leader. So we talked about, are you gaining new skills? Are you transforming in the process? And are you growing your community or network? This is why I love group programs. And again, we have this incredible community of people all over the world. We've been leading programs for many, many years. And many of the people who go through our programs stay connected over years. They become friends. They travel all over to visit each other. We have people in Germany, Singapore, Holland, St. Thomas, all over the world. And they will go travel, see each other, send their kids to go, experience the other country, and then collaborate with one another, really show up for each other. Like, I'm thinking of a couple of women in our program right now who, one of them was having fear of visibility and putting herself out there. And so the other one was like, I'm going to do these lives with you and support you to do that. And she said, I, it's just helping her break through, right? And so having that support system is so huge. And not only that, you never know, like, this is just even while you're in the program, but you never know what those people will become for you down the road or who they will refer to you. And so tapping in, that's so much of when I've looked at programs or things like that I want to be a part of. It's because I see that the community and the network is one that I want to be a part of. That really, like I said, in time, that is added so much richness to my life and also added clients to my life. That's how we get, so many of our clients come through word of mouth and referrals. And, it's because of having this incredible network and community and really adding value to them as well, which is a whole other topic. So back to Aliveness Mastery, I want to share a little bit about that because some of you are asking. So we start in 2 weeks. It is very much it's a certification and a coaching and communication method. So whether you're a coach already and you really want to deepen your skills to help people transform in a really deep and lasting way, or you're thinking about becoming a coach, or you just want to add these into your current career, right? We have therapists in the program who want to add a coaching component. We have entrepreneurs who really want to bring this into their teams and, leadership, for example. So you're learning this coaching method, you're applying it to yourself first while you're learning to use it with others. And as you go through and you have this clarity open up and you have the transformation, it absolutely grows not only your career or business, if you really work the system, but, it will also really have an ROI on other areas. And this is one of the things people share with us so much, is like, oh my gosh, it's transforming my relationships. It's transforming my connection with my kids or with my teams. And those are those other kinds of ROI that we're talking about here that are just as important. And then we've also paired it with a business boot camp. So you get a complete business program if you are an entrepreneur that is just literally included in the program. So in addition to going through this whole certification for 9, 10 months, because we do take breaks in the program, you are also getting weekly coaching calls, group coaching calls, where you are getting hot seat coaching on your business, you're getting business training. So there's a lot in there. It's incredible. And we made it 9 months for a reason because it takes time. And I think this comes back to one of the myths as well. And that's why I shared that the results that I had before aren't always typical, right? We don't always get in there. Sometimes we have that happen, where we get into a program and we just immediately can apply it and get those amazing results. But so much of the time, it's an unfolding process, right? It is in time, this builds in you, it grows in you. And then you look back and you go, oh my gosh, look how far I've come. And we actually record people, by the way, on video before and after. So if you go to alivenessmastery.com, that link, you'll see one particular example of an image of someone before and after experiencing this transformational work. And when you come through the program, we do the same thing. And the kinds of changes that we typically see are the eyes becoming brighter. People often look younger. The two sides of the face start to integrate and balance. And then if there are emotions like sadness or anger or things like that in the eyes and in the face, those often start to move up and out in time as people go through and transform. Again, those are kinds of ROI that we can't put a number to. This is transformation, but you can see it visibly. And that is what aliveness is all about. It is tapping back into that happy baby that's inside of you, getting tuned into what is the life and what is the career business that's really a fit for you, and then how do you create that, bringing these communication skills into your relationships and really experiencing the shifts and the changes that happen, more harmony, deeper connection. So it really can't be measured in ROI alone, although we have the business bootcamp and we have all these other pieces to make sure that you can get some support in those areas as well. So if you are curious about this, go to alivenessmastery.com, just apply. There's no obligation. So there's an application form right there on the page, and we will reach out to you and set you up with a breakthrough session with one of our clarity specialists. And time is of the essence here because we are starting in 2 weeks. Now, as soon as you join the program, if you decide to join the program, we will put you in with our tribe. You'll be in with all the people who are in all of the sessions of Aliveness Mastery and really get connected and get inspired. It's so fun to see the conversations happening in there, the women supporting each other and sharing what's going on in their life and the breakthroughs they're having, but also the challenges. And by the way, that is really important too, because I think so much of the time we feel like we have to kind of show up in this certain way. We have to like have it all together or, you know, sort of look a certain way on social media. So it's really important to have somewhere you can go where you can just get real about when things are really hard and have the other people share their real ups and downs as well. So you feel like you're not just sitting here alone in a void, especially in this time where we can't be in person as much, seeing each other, having this community to tap into. I know that it's been huge for me, just even being the coach and someone leading this experience is like showing up every week for these calls has been the highlight. It is what has kept my spirits up and definitely these other women as well. So we get you tapped into that network right away. We get you set up with some pre-program things you're going to start working on, and then we get you into the program, which starts February 10th. So we would love to have you join us. Go again to Aliveness Mastery. That link is in the comments, and just hit the apply button and we'll reach out to you to discuss the next steps as far as getting you on that breakthrough call. And finally, I just want to close with a couple last thoughts. I know I've shared these kind of throughout, but I think they're really, really important just to kind of bring it all home. The biggest factor in your success in investing in yourself in a program, it needs to be the right fit, but the other biggest factor is your level of commitment and dedication, and of course, having the right system and support, which is being in the right program. But ultimately, this is why we only work with people, and we ask this before anyone comes into our program. That's why there's an application process. We only work with people who are 10 out of 10 committed to really go for something. There's nothing wrong with thinking about it or kind of, playing with the idea of going for that next level in your business or your life, but you know, that is not the commitment level it takes to really get results. And we are 110% committed to you getting results. So it's so important that you be in the same place. That's one thing I will say if you're thinking about applying is that, you need to be really ready to go for it and get in there, work the program, just like I did in the example I gave earlier when I had those amazing results. Was I got in there, I worked the program, I made it happen. And this is huge. So super, super important that it not just be, oh yeah, I'm a 10 out of 10 committed, that it really be true, that you really be ready to go for something. And we'll help you if you're not sure to get clear on that, but tune in deep down because that's so important. If you're not, then maybe it's not the time to invest in yourself, maybe it's time to just sit back and, play with some things, try some things, but you're not really ready to jump up and really go for that next level. And that is perfectly okay also. Okay. And then the last thing is that change doesn't happen overnight. And this is the downside to, catchy headlines like how I made 35,000, out of my 8,000 in 8 weeks is that's not typical. And it hasn't even been typical. I mean, I have those kinds of results now, but it wasn't typical in different aspects of my own journey of building a business either. And so be kind to yourself. And this is where also a longer term program I think is really powerful because when I see people, again, keep making investments in self-study programs, in, these kind of teach yourself and online type things, or in these really short programs where it's like, get these amazing results in 8 weeks. It's like, okay, sometimes that can happen, but for many people, it takes time. It takes time to practice what you're learning, to apply it, to have the ups and downs in the process. And that's why, 9 months is like a pregnancy, right? It's like the time it takes to grow a baby. And so that's why the program is 9 months as well. It's a really great length of time to really get in there, transform yourself, work what you're learning, see these shifts happening in your life and gain mastery. We're not about just like learn some things and, check the box so you have a certification. It really is about you embodying that level of, full congruency as a coach to be able to work with people and transform their lives in a really deep way and also have transformed your own in the process. So that's what I'm going to wrap up with today. I didn't see any other questions. If you have any questions, please type them below even after the fact if you're not watching this live, and I'm happy to answer them. And if you are curious, go to alivenessmastery.com and just hit that apply button, fill out that form, and we'll reach out to you about a breakthrough session. Thank you for being here. Have a great week, everyone, and tune in on Thursday at the same time, noon Central. We're going to be talking about secrets of success in business the feminine way. Thank you, Tamara. So good to see you. Hope to see you all applying. See you soon.